Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I'd like to share a story with you about my very first sewing machine. Now, I have been sewing for as long as I can remember. I can't remember not sewing. And my very first sewing machine was a very fun story. I come from a large family of 6 kids, so there was not much room in the house to place the sewing machine, so my mother's sewing machine would often be sitting on the dining room table, until, of course, we needed that dining room table. And I would take that sewing machine up into my bedroom and hide in a corner just to get some sewing done. Well, one day, and I was very young, I was still in grade school, I remember that my mother had a tray of cookies that she wanted me to bring to the lady across the street, and she was a really sweet lady. So I was more than happy to go over and visit because we would sit on the porch and share those cookies and have a glass of lemonade. And this time when I brought the cookies over, she called me in the house because the weather was not so good and said, "Just wait here for a minute." Well, as I was standing in the foyer, I noticed a sewing machine. So when she came out of the kitchen, she saw me eyeing this sewing machine. And I was very excited to think, oh my goodness, someone else sews on this street. And I said to her, "You sew? I sew too." And she said, "Well, I don't sew anymore." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I want my own sewing machine someday." And she said, "Would you like this sewing machine?" Well, of course, I said yes. And she said, "But I can't give it to you for free. First of all, you have to go home and ask if it's okay that I give you the sewing machine." So I ran across the street, asked my mother. Of course, my mother said yes. I ran back across the street, and she said, "But you must earn it. So you must wash my front window." Well, I'll tell you, I don't think there was a spot left on that window by the time I was done with it because I was very excited to be able to wash that window as payment to get the sewing machine. Now, of course, I couldn't carry this sewing machine across the street home, so I had to wait for my father to get home from work. And the moment he got into the driveway, I was running out of the house, dragging him across the street, talking as quick as I can, a mile a minute, so that we couldn't waste one moment so that he could go get the sewing machine for me. And of course, he had no idea what I was jabbering about. So it took a couple of minutes between my mother and myself to let him realize I was now going to be a proud owner of an antique sewing machine. So that machine made its way right up into my bedroom. It's not like I had room for it, but I definitely made room for it. And I stuck it into a little walk-in closet. There was this little tiny closet. It was longer than wider, so you couldn't put a pole to hang up your clothes. The clothes had to be hung on hooks. So I combined all of my clothes so that I could put this little sewing machine into my closet because that was the only place that it would fit, with an extension cord running so that I can use it, and a little raw light bulb sitting above me. And with that sewing machine in my own bedroom, I could sew longer. However, I did share the bedroom with my sister, so I couldn't sew into the night because, well, we both needed to get some sleep. And in order for me to sew in my sewing room, of course, I needed a cutting surface. So I had a piece of wood between my mattress and my box spring that I would pull out and place on top of my mattress. This gave me a really great work surface. It was big and it was handy. However, it was also a lot of work putting away so that I could go to sleep at night. So there were some nights that I would cuddle in with my sister so that I didn't disturb my cutting station. And that's my fond memory of my very first sewing machine. If you'd love to share your story of your first sewing machine and your memories around it, I would love to read them. And thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're talking about next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.